You're watching Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Loaded show ahead as we're going to hear from Connor Stalions. Yes, that Connor Stalions, the same one from Michigan, the infamous sign stealer himself. Well, he knows the Seattle Seahawks coaching staff pretty well. Pretty good friends with Mike Macdonald and a couple of other guys that he worked with at Michigan. And he weighed in with some interesting insights on this Seahawks staff. We'll tell you what he had to say and recap his interview with the Bussin with the Boys podcast with Barstool coming up in just a little while from right now. Also, we got some roster updates to get to on the Seahawks. Some changes that have been made to the practice squad with one player in and one player out. We'll tell you about all that and more coming up in just a matter of moments. Ahead of tomorrow's game against the San Francisco 49ers, my guy Chase Sr., he put a challenge out there to the 12s. He said, there's no way you guys could get 1,000 comments on a single video. It hasn't happened in months. And I said, Chase, not only are the Seahawks going to beat the Niners, and Seahawks Today is going to crush the 49ers report, we're going to prove you wrong right here, right now. I want 1,000 12s from the 12s. To make our voices heard loud and clear, spam 12 in the comment section. We'll get going here on Seahawks Today. Connor Stalions, the Michigan sign stealer himself, weighed in on Mike Macdonald and some members of the Seahawks coaching staff who he knows pretty well from working with them at the University of Michigan, and had an extensive interview with the Bussin with the Boys podcast. Will Compton, Taylor Lewan, they do a great show. And the interview is about 3 hours long. We will save you the time from having to listen to that entire interview and just play you the hits of what he had to say about Macdonald and the Seahawks here. He talked about Mike Macdonald's coaching approach. And it was pretty fascinating to listen to Stalions talk about Mike Macdonald and the influence that Macdonald was given from Connor Stalions, that Stalions actually changed Macdonald's approach, that the Macdonald that we know now compared to what he was when he arrived at the University of Michigan, when he was their defensive coordinator, two completely different guys. And Connor Stalions is a big reason why. Connor Stalions said that he was Mike Macdonald's go-to guy when it came to sign stealing, when the Michigan Wolverines were trying to figure out not only what signs to steal, but also how to protect themselves from their signs getting stolen, that Mike Macdonald was right there, and he was one of his biggest supporters, and that changed Mike Macdonald's approach to coaching the defense. Pretty fascinating there. We know about the infamous Michigan Manifesto, which was the 500-plus page document that Stalions put together on his plan to one day become the head coach of the University of Michigan. And, I mean, anytime you put manifesto as a title of a document, you're just a crazy person, right? And he was asked about, okay, who are your biggest influences of putting this manifesto together? And 3 of the 4 names that he came up with were Seattle Seahawks coaches: Mike Macdonald, Jay Harbaugh, who was the special teams coach at Michigan at the time and is now the Seahawks special teams coach, son of Jim Harbaugh, and Chris Partridge, who was Michigan's linebackers coach, now the Seahawks linebackers coach, who was fired from the University of Michigan due to his role in the sign-stealing scandal. So, pretty fascinating to see that much influence. He talked about just how smart those guys are, the geniuses that they are to the game of football, how well that they know the X's and O's and are able to translate that to their players and get the most out of them, that they were 3 of his biggest influences. And then another final note that I found pretty fascinating was that Stalions said he recently attended the Seahawks-Giants game just over the weekend in Seattle. He was in town for the Michigan-Washington game that the Huskies won, and then he stuck around for the Seahawks-Giants game to follow after that and was hanging around the Seahawks coaching staff and remains close to the Seahawks coaching staff. So all pretty fascinating stuff from Stalions there. And you can see, here's a photo from the Big Ten Championship a couple years ago of who else? Mike Macdonald with Connor Stalions. Stalions tweeting, this man right here, Mike Mac, Big Ten champs. Now, Stalions obviously is not coaching anywhere significant. He's coaching some high school ball. But seeing the relationship there and the ongoing conversations, him being in Seattle, it makes you think for a second. Does Stalions potentially have a role with this Seahawks team? Is that a possibility? I know that sign stealing isn't nearly as prevalent in the NFL with the headset communication and all that. But this guy, the way his brain operates, I wonder, is there a way to make this work, to find somewhere where Connor Stalions could fit within this Seahawks organization? Could he be used in some way, shape, or form? Should the Seahawks hire Connor Stalions? Am I crazy for even considering this possibility? What do you guys think? Weigh in, let us know. Y for yes, in for no if the Seahawks should consider bringing Connor Stalions to Seattle. We'll be live coming up tomorrow night for Seahawks Niners here on the channel. Our coverage begins at 4:15 with our hour-long pregame show. I'll be here. Smitty's going to be here. As we count you down to kickoff, we'll be live throughout the game as well, reacting to things in real time, having a few drinks on hand. We'll be doing some Super Chat giveaways and more. Don't miss out. Seahawks, Niners, Thursday Night Football, prime time, baby. You won't want to miss it live right here on Seahawks Today, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. We will see you then. Couple roster notes for the Seahawks here that we'll get to. Let's start with who they moved on from. Linebacker Devin Richardson was released from the practice squad, while linebacker Ezekiel Turner was added to the practice squad in his place. So they swapped out linebackers here. More on Turner, undrafted in 2018 out of Washington, previously played with the Cardinals, the Niners, the Texans, was also a part of the all-rookie team back in 2018. And his career statistics, nothing too flashy. Had 20 tackles in 2023, 22 in 2022, along with 3 TFLs, 4 tackles in 2021, and 14 in 2020. And this is a guy that's got a little bit of versatility. We'll tell you about that here in just a second. But for this late in the year, when you're signing practice squad players, it's usually, just to fill a spot, whatever it may be, with no hope of getting to the active roster. But the more I look into this, and the reason why we're going to spend some extensive time on this compared to other practice squad signings, is that the more I read in and get to know Turner, the more I'm starting to convince myself that this guy actually has a chance to potentially get that promotion to the 53-man roster. Let me explain why. He's got some versatility. Former defensive back at the University of Washington, so he's played a couple different spots. If you go back to 2018, he was third in the NFL in special teams tackles with 16 total, and he's had not one but 2 blocked punts in his career. So he's done a lot. He's been a valuable asset when it comes to what he's done on special teams over the years. So this is pretty interesting. How would you grade the signing of Ezekiel Turner? What do you think of this? I'll give you my grade here in a moment. I want to hear from you guys. A, B, C, D, or F. Weigh in the comments section. Let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Still time to get tickets for tomorrow night's game against the San Francisco 49ers. And as the game gets closer, the ticket prices drop, folks. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They have their super deals. If you see a super deal, that's going to be one you don't want to pass up on. They have their seat views, so you can get the visual, see what your seat is like. You choose the event you want to go to, whether it's a Seahawks game a Kraken game, the NHL season just started, whatever it may be. Prices are listed. Choose your seat, get the visual, see if you like that seat or not. Then you're checking out with Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. The link is in the comments and in the description of today's video. All right, I'm giving this an A for this signing here, and let me explain a little further of why I really like this move for the Seattle Seahawks with what they're doing. He brings in more special teams help. Special teams, special players, you guys know how it is. And over his career, he's been a core special teams player. So that's an asset. That's a plus. He also really just has it in his blood. Grew up in a football family. He's known since the age of 5 years old he wanted to play in the National Football League. His dad was very active and involved, an athlete in his own right. And this is a guy that is, as an underdog, is perfect for this type of situation. A determined underdog that he's been kind of forgotten about his entire career. He only received 2 Division II offers in high school. Not a single Division I offer from FBS or FCS, but he's been continually written off again. So this is not an unfamiliar spot for him to be here sitting on a practice squad trying to earn his rights. He's overcome the odds time and time again. And when he was at the University of Washington, he was a 2-time Special Teams MVP award winner there for that team. And he's looking to finish what he started. We mentioned that he's had his fair share of moments in the NFL already. This is somebody that finished his degree while playing football. So this is a guy that has, found ways to get through adversity and make it work. Now, that's nice. I like this signing. But let's get to the real problem for this Seahawks team right now. Can we get some offensive line help? That's what I want to see next. And as I look towards tomorrow night's game, I'm looking at Jason Peters. If it were up to me, I'd be starting Jason Peters tomorrow night. Do I expect it to happen? No, I think Stone's probably still going to start. But when I look at where this goes from here, of bringing in players and roster moves and all that, that's the next thing we want to see. Peters was a decent signing. Now let's see some more moves from this point. I want to see him potentially start. We'll see if the Seahawks do it. Should the Seahawks start Jason Peters this week against the Niners? 2 options here. Type start or sit. Weigh in and let us know what you think. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. For continuing Seahawks coverage, follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, @Tyler Jones Live, and we will see you next time.